Yeah. Check it out, man.
I thought you wanted to look at my receding, resurgent hairline as Van Ligt says.
It's resurging.
It's getting better, dude. I've been growing it out a little bit more. I do have a haircut tomorrow, but when I've been getting it, lined up, I've been leaving more on the top. I've been leaving more on the top, so it's been coming in a little bit, and I've been using a rosemary water spray in these little areas, and it's been it's been good.
I just want to see you buy a rosemary water spray.
I didn't buy it. It's rosemary I grew myself, and then I boiled in water. Yeah, it's my real shit. I know. It's happening.
You didn't have to ask for rosemary water at the store.
I don't know if I should be more embarrassed by this or less embarrassed, but I feel good about it. I feel good that a hair professional was like, make your own rosemary water and I was like, we planted rosemary last year in our garden, and we used like some of it, but it just grew so fast. Like by the end of the season, it was like, what are we gonna do with all of this rosemary?
Hey, shout out to Sam. That's the ultimate long play right there. Yeah. She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, she knew. She knew. She was like, just this goddamn receding, resurgent hairline. But yeah,
it's looking good.
Now that's why I switched headphones, because like I want the viewers to. I would no excuses here. I think you could kind of tell beforehand anyway. But now switching to the earbuds, it's a little more transparent. Is what I'm dealing with.
I feel
JP,
that.
You're in a different location.
I am in the mountains, baby.
Our YouTube viewers will notice that the background's different and want to know where you are. You're in the mountains. Yeah. You climbed a mountain.
Hey, not this year. That was 2 years ago. I'm not doing that again. We know what happened last time I was climbing a mountain.
Can't do that again.
We're in Arnold, California, and it's...
I used to smoke pot with Arnold, California.
Yeah. Arnold Schwarzenegger, governor.
I missed that bit. I'm gonna force that bit into more episodes now.
But that one could have been true, because it could have been Arnold, California. Could really be the pseudonym for Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah, Terminator. Come on the pod,
dude. Arnold,
Mr. Schwarzenegger,
or whoever Arnold the town is named after. We'll have you on. We don't mind.
Hey Arnold, come on.
Hey Arnold, yes, that is one
all-time show.
Football,
Nickelodeon Hall of Fame.
Yeah, so good. I think it might be that and Doug. Top two.
Yeah, Doug was fire.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yep. Salute Your Shorts and Hey Dude were also very good.
Yeah, Hey Dude was one that I was like, I think I'm too young to watch this. Like when it was actually on.
Yeah,
and I'm like, but I also don't really enjoy that they're like on a dude ranch. But the character development was so enthralling. I just had to follow along with all their little micro relationships they had going on.
I found out later, like all those kids had never been like actors before, and it was essentially like a true summer camp for them, and they just filmed sort of like haphazardly, and it turned into Hey Dude, which was great.
That's not what happened with Salute Your Shorts. But I think it's fine. It worked out good too. I'm not going to complain about Salute Your Shorts.
No,
but yeah, we should. I'm gonna rename Arnold, the city of Arnold, the town of Arnold now is officially Camp Arnoldwana.
Oh,
nice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Arnoldwana.
It's done. Yep.
Yeah.
We hereby declare on the Belligerent Beavs podcast.
Right.
Do we have a notary? We got to have a notary that's a listener, I'm sure.
Well, it's only official if you raise underwear up the flagpole, so get on that.
Yeah, if we had it, we should make Belligerent Beavs flags that are like the logo, but like on underwear.
Oh,
and it's like a flag of underpants.
Ooh. Why don't we just make underpants?
Or we just make underpants and then put them on flagpoles.
Reeser has to have a big flag, right?
Yeah. There are flagpoles at Reeser.
Yeah, they have to have a big flagpole.
I'm trying to remember where it is at Reeser. Is it over the scoreboard? Or
no,
do they
I know
the color guard marches the flags out when they do the national anthem, but I feel like
they used to be over by in one of the corners on the North end zone.
Right. That would be the North.
Yeah.
We the North.
Yeah. But like, I forget which side it was on. Because one time I think it used to be on the side with the ramp. And then it was also on the side after they redid the terrace. I think last year when they were redoing, or 2 years ago when they were redoing, the new side, it was like hanging, I don't know, from like a
rafter.
Yeah, like it was like hanging from like a
over the cranes or the scaffolding
or something.
Yeah, that's right. It was. Yeah. Which is a dope.
We should just keep it that way. Yeah, we should definitely keep it that way.
Honestly, I'm not saying we should go back to it, but I did kind of like the playing in the stadium actively under construction. There is something quaint and cool and characteristic about it. And
the future was just so bright.
And I think
still bright.
It's still bright. It's very bright in
Let's
different
not get
ways.
It twisted.
I will say that SEC team Vanderbilt University is about to play in an active constructive site again for like the third season in the row.
Yeah.
So when the SEC says it just means more, it doesn't mean it means more everywhere.
Yeah. It means enough to have a completed stadium.
It means we're all full of shit. We're all lying, but God damn it, no matter if you're playing in an active construction site or not, or if you're coming to us listening in an active construction site or not, it is episode 148 of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast.
Yeah.
Let's go. We're here. It is July. We sort of took an impromptu week off last week just because of the holiday and a lot of stuff going on. We're sorry. We're sorry for doing that without an announcement, listener. But we have no plans to take weeks off from here until the start of college football season. This great college football season where we will be playing as charter members of the Pac-2 conference and Pac-12 / Pac-2, best goddamn conference on the planet.
We need to go to the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim approach. We need to be the Pac-2 of the Pac-12 conference.
Right. The Southern Division. And Wazoo can be the Northern Division.
Yeah. And we're both in the Western Division of college athletics.
I wonder if, because scheduling's like all over the place, I wonder if they could get away with doing a Pac-12 championship game to just put an extra game on the radar or on the schedule.
Here's what I'm kind of leaning into with this new reality. And I'm compartmentalizing my anger. And I think I'm going to be, at least until the season starts, I'm going to be much more upbeat because I've found just little elements of things that I like about this reality. I'm still fucking pissed. Don't get me wrong. There's a long list of enemies, long list of suitable punishments I've come up with that I'm sure I'll share on all these episodes leading up until the season. Not in complete detail because I don't want to go to prison. But there are also silver linings that I will not deny. And here's a thing that I like too. We can do whatever the fuck we want.
That's true.
Like the parents are gone, the grandparents are gone, the babysitters are gone, everyone's gone. We can play Wazoo 10 times in a row and call each one a different championship game as long as Wazoo's game for it. So yeah, tack on another championship. I get why we're like not in this came up on a different national podcast I was listening to where if Oregon State and Wazoo players were eligible to receive all Mountain West honors, which they are not because we are not members of the Mountain West, and therefore we're also not able to play in the Mountain West championship game. But they honestly, I know they won't do this because they'll think it's embarrassing. They should honestly do an all Pac-12 team. First team, second team, third team, honorable mention. They should keep doing it. Because why should that tradition stop just because all of these assholes left? Yeah. Like, keep doing all of that as just an ultimate fuck you to everybody.
But I got a question, how would the athletes feel about being
I don't think they'd hate it.
I get first team in a way, right?
If it got down to honorable mention, I think it would be like, people would laugh about it and like, okay, this seems kind of gimmicky, but I don't think anyone would feel too like made fun of.
Maybe not, but maybe not.
I think you could easily sell it, like just like the way we did, where it's like, hey, the other 10 teams left. There's probably an NIL incentive now in like everyone's contract. So if you just work in, like, there's a little bit of kickback. Like there's, some, salary increase to the players who are getting that, or there's some cash prize or some sponsorship prize. If you get all conference in anything, that's where you just say, all right, thanks, Treasonous 10, for making it easier for me to get this bag. If you attach a bag to it, I think everyone's cool with it.
Yeah,
I'm cool with it. I will tell you that.
I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Attach a bag to everything.
Especially if the Pac-12 lives on, which, it seems like that is more and more likely to be sort of
because historians of the sport will look back at this time, and we don't want them to be like, wait, why was there no all-conference team in 2024 and 2025?
And get really confused.
What happened?
Yeah.
Right. And be like, here's what happened. The all-conference team is Oregon State, Washington State. Why was that? And you're like, well,
they were just so
good
that year.
Something you need to look into about a 0-time Big Ten champion USC. They had an idea in 2022 that went horribly wrong, and then just like let all the pages of history fill in the future generations.
It actually started with a 5-mile hike that J.P. Bertram took in Arnold, California.
Yeah, no, that one was in Yosemite, and then it was in Arnold, or it was in Arnold and it was in Yosemite. But still, out here in them hills. Not a good segue, but thinking of bad decisions, I had to get a new chain last week.
Oh.
And you'll want to know this story. So, and I actually don't know if I did something wrong or if somebody else did something wrong.
Were you snatching chains out there?
No.
In the hills?
So on the way down, we were driving down and we stopped in Ashland. We stayed at a hotel. I'm not going to out the hotel. And right before bed, the lights were all off. The phones were plugged in. And I thought I had this genius idea. I'm like, I'm taking my chain off. At first, I was like, I'll put it on my phone. But the first thing that popped through my mind was I'm going to pick my phone up in this blacked out room in the morning and fling my chain God knows where as I'm trying to figure out what time it is and never see it again. So my genius idea was I'll put my chain next to the charging bricks, which were in the wall, those like wall outlets between the beds in hotels.
Yeah.
So I take my chain off and I'm like dangling it. I can't see. It's like pitch black in the room. I'm dangling it in my hand. All of a sudden, sparks everywhere. Dude, I'm getting shocked, electrocuted. My finger, I can't even like let go of the chain. It's like imprinting itself into my skin. The chain turned bright orange. Shout out the Beavs. And then it sparked everywhere. And then our room power went out. This is like 1 a.m. And I'm like,
were the kids in the room with you?
Yes. And there was like sparks flying between the beds where they were in one and Annie was sleeping in the other, and I was about to go to bed. And sparks were it was insane. I had an imprint. I still kind of have an imprint of the chain on my finger from that moment. The chain melded, like fused together in 3 different spots along the chain. And then one part popped off, like it broke apart, like it exploded into its own piece. Anyways, I went down to the front desk. The guy was this young dude, working the midnight shift at the front desk. Was very polite, very like apologetic. He was like, "Oh shit, yeah. That's not supposed to happen. Oh shit." And then luckily I didn't. I thought I took out the whole hotel's power somehow, but it was just our room. So he flips the breaker. He's like, "Come back in the morning and talk to you can talk to the manager when they're in. They'll be in a 7." I come back in the morning. The manager's like busy. She like didn't care. She's like, "Well, I'm not an electrician. I don't know what happened." And I was like, "Well, I'm not either." And it was pitch black. I don't know what happened, but I'm pretty sure that if metal touched electricity in some way, the breaker should have probably gone off like immediately, not like for like 2+ seconds, zapping me over and over again, and like flinging my. It looked like a I don't know, some like serpent like coming out of the water, because it was like just like spraying around in the air. The chain had like a life of its own. lo and behold, we left. I didn't really complain. I was like, whatever, it sucks. My chain's
Wait,
broken.
the power came back on after he flipped the breaker?
Yeah, it came back on.
Okay.
And then she calls me like 4 hours later after she like dismissed me. She's like, well, she's like, I can comp your pet fee.
Pet fees are bullshit anyway.
No, they are. Yeah,
that is very true.
I'm also like, yeah, okay, the $25 comp is I guess something to value my life that I nearly lost after being electrocuted to death between my children and a wife in a hotel room while holding a gold chain. That would have been the weirdest way to die. Anyways, she told me back and she like clearly felt bad or something, some other news that like come up about it when she like talked to somebody else because she's like, we're really sorry. That must have been really scary. Like we're comping your whole room. We're refunding you right now. We blocked the room for a night till we figure out what the root cause is. You almost
electrocuted yourself and got a free vacation out of it, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you want unethical life hack,
don't follow this advice, listener. This is like when we bring up websites on the podcast and say, don't go there.
Yeah. I use it for a new chain.
It's a nice chain. That's a nice chain. Yeah. Just try to burn the hotel down and blame it on something else.
I was trying to not lose my chain.
Accidentally, almost.
In an attempt to make sure I didn't lose my chain, I ruined my chain in literally a 10-second window of time. It was actually quite impressive.
I wish you were comfortable mentioning the hotel because we should all give them 5-star reviews on Google or whatever. But we can do that. We can do that privately as well.
Save those reviews for us.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
That's a great segue into if you are enjoying the Belligerent Beavs podcast, why not give us a 5-star review?
Especially for that story.
That subscribe button. So yeah, that was the Belligerent Beavs in Arnold, California. You can give them a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you get your podcast.
Where did you get the new chain?
So this is totally something I would do. So I looked up. I forgot where I got my original one online.
Of course, there's another story with this.
So I looked up like all the different like chain providers, and then
you didn't just go to Jared.
No, like GLD is like this, gold-plated chain outfit. They make pendants and different types of chains. Blah blah blah.
Okay,
whatever. So I had it had a 50% discount code, and then it was like buy 2 for 1, or buy 2 or buy 1 get 1 for free. And so I tried to like make it work where I was like, I can get 50% off and get this other thing for free. And then at first it kept like saying it wouldn't work, but then somehow I entered the codes with the right combination and I got both discount codes. So I essentially got 2 chains for half the price of the one that I had electrocuted into a smoldering pile of metal. And now I have this one. And it's actually a little bit thicker.
Pulling off something like that just proves that you're different. JP, please play 5 seconds of I'm Different by 2 Chainz.
2 Chainz, but I got me a few everything hot, skip lukewarm.
In honor of your difference.
Let's go.
And 2 Chainz.
Yeah.
Dude, so
welcome back to the show, 2 Chainz.
Yuri,
I feel like he was on a lot of early episodes.
Yuri had
he was
a gold chain that I've never seen her wear, so I just put it on. She's like, "Oh, that looks really good," and I had it for about. I had it last episode. I had it for about.
But yeah, I was
a
gonna say
week.
you were wearing it last episode.
Yeah, until I took my shirt off before a shower, and then it just snapped. Right. So then I ordered another chain off of Etsy from Betsy. And
Betsy makes good chains.
And
we've always known that.
So I'm tracking it, and it's supposed to arrive today. So it goes from Florida to Salt Lake to Seattle, and I'm checking it today, and it got sent back to Atlanta. So I don't know.
It got sent back to it. It got sent back to Atlanta to get better.
Yeah.
Chains need to graduate. Chains to Atlanta.
Yeah.
I love you're tracking it like a fucking kid on Christmas.
Yeah,
like, what city is my chain in right now?
Dude, chains are fun.
Chains are fun. Maybe I should get back into the chain game.
Yep.
Back on
Chain
the
gang.
chain
I saw
gang.
we were out a couple weekends ago, and I forget it was either a neighbor of ours or just some guy who just like looked cool at the bar and like had a cool bracelet on. And I started to ask Sam,
I don't have it on, but...
should I become a bracelet guy? And before he even got the last syllable out, she was like, no.
Wait.
And I think that's good advice. Pretty much what like
bracelets are sick too.
Oh, this is my friend Terry. He's the bracelet guy.
You fuck with bracelets? Yeah, let me introduce you to Terry. Big time bracelet guy. Or I should just buy them and not wear them, and then get to the wedding day in May and have like 11 bracelets just up and down one arm.
No, you open up your blazer coat and they're all hanging.
I'm just selling bracelets
so you can sell them to your wedding guests.
Yeah, we got to pay for this wedding, baby. Come on. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah. Well, now that I have you all here as you're up at the altar, right. We have all of these fine different bracelets of all metals and all golds.
We'll make certain bracelets just for Bebe's fans, and then we'll put them on the registry.
Or on terrythebraceletguy.com.
Does anyone own that domain? I feel like I need to find out.
You can't bring up potential domains to JP, Benny. You know this because he will buy them and
No one owns it.
Okay.
How much it costs? How much does it cost?
Terry the bracelet guy.
This is part of the podcast where we look things up.
This is part of the podcast where
we look all the different types of bracelets you could sell.
Oh my God! Well, I know we said it's last week it's midsummer. It's a holiday weekend. We can take the week off. Our listeners won't be too mad. Thank you for understanding. We do have a lot to get into. There's a lot of good news actually, and a lot of shout outs that we need to give. Things are fun in the Beaver fam right now, and we got some tinfoil hat things to get into. We gotta gauge Benny's excitement as we get closer and closer to the release of NCAA Football 25.
Glad you asked.
Yeah, we're gonna give you a chance to forgot about that. So here is something I love about this game being back. I know the game's gonna be amazing, and I don't mean to criticize the makers of the game at all, at least not yet. But where are you going the first bit of information that came out there's some things that I'm getting to that, and this is one of them where it was like the toughest places to play list.
Oh yeah,
and number one was Texas A&M, and just the entire college football community just shit all over them. They're like, the game's already ruined. They fucked it up. And Texas A&M fans were like, admit it, like, we're loud. And it's like, yeah, you're weird and loud, but there's more to you went like 3-4 at home last year. So there's gonna be some kinks. No video game has ever been perfect. But this one looks to be at least trying to come close, and it will not be perfect, but there'll be things to make fun of and other fun things to enjoy. But before we get into all that, we got to get into the beer segment.
Hey, real quick, Terry, that painting behind you on
Which
the
one?
bottom, right behind or right under, is that Five Dog?
Five Dogs on top.
Okay, is that Meatball from Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
No, it looks like Meatball from Aqua Teen Hunger Force. It's a little cartoon basketball guy, illustrated by Arturo Torres, who did all the illustrations for Shea Serrano's books. And right under the basketball, it says "Shoot your shot," and he's doing a little shooting motion.
Oh, okay, nice.
So it's part of my motivational art. And the one right next to Five Dog is Q-Tip.
Yeah,
and the caption under Five Dog is "You on point, Zip," and then the caption under Q-Tip is "All the time, Five."
Yeah, I remember seeing that at your house.
So
yeah,
wow.
Cool.
You are a great interior designer.
Yeah, you are.
Decorator, I would say. But sure, designer too. Anyway, JP, you are not at home, so you do not have your beer fridge, but I do imagine you have some delicious
we have 3
adult
beer
beverage.
fridges.
You have 3. You should move
Watch
there.
out.
Yeah.
Let's make it. Let's all move there.
You have a
Bebe's
triple, a double, and a
HQ.
single IPA beer fridge.
Yep. Pretty much. No, we got one right here next to me, right here. This is the new downstairs, by the way. It's actually not that new. It's maybe 2 or 3 years old. This was just like a dirt storage room, and then we carved it all out. Not we, I didn't do anything or pay for any of it, but my dad and mom did, and they also didn't do anything. They paid for it. And down here is kind of like the main room.
Sorry.
So I'm down here hanging out. It's nice and cool, and I'm drinking a Pliny the Elder.
Dude.
Oh, let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice
Lovely.
flex. I haven't had a Pliny the Elder in a long time.
Yeah, shout out my wife. She just picked it up at the store earlier for me. I said,
Nice.
give me something good. I don't know. We have stuff here, but I was, not trying to intermix with other people's beers that they've left here. I don't want to be rude.
All the hams that the common people are drinking.
Yeah. Yeah. So
do you even
Pliny.
get hams in California?
I don't think so.
Oh no. God damn.
Yeah. I'll have to look that one up too.
What a crime-ridden liberal hellscape. I'm kidding. I love California,
Yeah,
but I will.
you can
I
get it.
will
You
bring.
can get it here. You can get it here.
Okay.
You can get hams.
Think. Oh,
Yeah.
had to clutch my pearls for a second.
It's actually sold out, and that could either be because it's not sold here or because people
You're like,
love
just
it
say
here.
just say it's sold out. It makes it look good. Where have I seen that tactic before?
What are you talking about, man?
I don't know. what I'm
Out
talking
us.
about.
You
Right.
snitch.
Is there anything else you'd like to say about your Pliny the Elder?
No, it's just a big, good, delicious beer.
Big, good, delicious beer. Excellent. Benny,
.com.
are you sipping on anything, or smoking on anything, or nibbling on anything, or thinking about anything?
I'm not, but JP, I'm pretty sure that is your Arnold house is where you had the 11-year-old Bud Light, right?
Yes, you're
That's
correct.
true.
And what was that in? It was in a golf bag.
It was in a
Right?
golf bag.
Yeah.
And I
Ooh.
bought a golf bag and a club set
Whoa.
at the Bainbridge Rotary Auction this weekend.
Wow.
It's the biggest Rotary auction in the country. Yeah, but look at it is crazy. I'm telling you.
Imagine it's
at
a
my
guy's
Twitter.
job to
Are we
look up
looking
the
more
size
things
of
up?
every Rotary auction to make sure the Bainbridge Rotary auction is still the biggest Rotary
We're
auction.
still
No,
in.
look at-
We're still in, everyone.
Look at my Twitter. I posted a video. They do the national anthem, and then they cut the ropes, and people it's a free for all. And to give you
God.
guys an understanding, they have everything there. They have
It's
a
like
golf
Lord of the
section.
Flies Black Friday.
They have a golf section where they had probably 500.
What kind of clubs did you get?
So I mix and matched them. I have the same like the iron set. I forget what brand that is, but I got tailor-made driver and a tailor-made
There you go.
3-wood. I still need to get a putter. I forgot to get a putter.
Just you know what? The mini bay calls his driver the big putter. So
Yeah.
what you can do is just putt with your driver.
Yeah,
just tap it really lightly.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to the driving range before I play around first couple times. So I should
look at
practice
you.
it.
If you don't have a putter, you should definitely go to the driving range
No,
first.
putt with the big putter.
Yeah, the big putter.
Yeah,
And
it's a fun one.
So
Oh my
I got
God.
all like an
forgot to get a
entire
putter.
golf set with the golf bag for $55.
What? Did it
Nice.
come with an 11-year-old Bud Light in it? That'd be
didn't.
priceless.
It didn't.
Oh.
But I'm telling you,
They're out of the
Bainbridge
golf
Rotary
bags of
auction,
beers.
they probably had 500 different, like not just drivers, but like 1-woods, 3-woods, like 500 of them. It was crazy. And then a ton of irons, tons of golf bags, and that's just golf. So
What about pickleball?
they had pickleball stuff. They had
Wow.
boxing stuff. They had ellipticals.
So who do they repossess this stuff from?
It's just people that want to donate it. And Bainbridge,
It's
there's
probably
like a
repo things,
ton
too.
of money.
Yeah.
A ton of money. And so there's like boats. There's a Tesla.
I want a boat.
But see, no one donated a Tesla.
That
That was repossessed. That was totally repossessed.
I'm sure that got repossessed. I bet you so many Teslas have been repossessed.
Yeah.
Like, just look at the demographic of people who bought Teslas the second they came out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
or drove them for Uber, and then they realized they're like, no one's there's not enough fares on Uber anymore to even support paying this car payment.
I went there looking for a golf club set and a French door. I didn't find the French door. They had some other doors.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you found a French golf club set.
I found a French golf club.
You could try going to the Paris of the Pacific Northwest to find your French door.
That's a good call. So I don't know why I didn't think of that before.
Wow.
148 episodes of this. 148
you look like
episodes
you might
of
have
this.
a French door.
I'm wearing my
wearing a French jersey.
I'm wearing a France football shirt.
Yeah.
Which is a license to get your ass beat in the movie Euro Trip. So thankfully we are not on set of one of the most underrated comedy of 2004. I think that was.
Oh my God. Wow, 20 years ago.
It's such a good movie.
It is a great movie.
Any Gen Z listeners to our show, we don't shit on Gen Z for a reason because we love your generation. But
we do.
If you did miss Euro Trip, which was potentially made before you were born, which makes me a little sad. Not really. But watch Euro Trip. It's fantastic. Watch it a ton. And that was probably not my most watched movie when I was a student at Oregon State, but it's probably in the top 5.
What was your most watched movie at Oregon State?
Oh, Terry's is Hot Tub Time Machine. 1,000,000%.
It was probably Hot Tub Time Machine, maybe.
Yeah.
But Hot Tub Time Machine came around though, like on like the back end of college. So I don't know if it got enough
all the time.
I don't know if it got enough. I don't know if it got enough views in there, like because like Old School came out like 3 years before we were in college, but when we were in college, it was still insanely popular. Same thing with like a movie like Wedding Crashers.
Look, Hot Tub Time Machine's on TV again. I'm like, it's on TV.
Yeah, but that was like
every
senior
day.
year.
And you're like, let's watch it. Let's watch it.
Let's watch
this part.
It's a great movie. Anyway, real quick, I do have the hams with me right now, but my special beer of the show is from Indeed Brewery, brewery from Minneapolis, which I don't think I've had on the show before, despite the fact that they're in my neighborhood. But I'm drinking my first sour in what feels like forever. I used to love on sours. But this is a Strawberry Fields sour from Indeed Brewing Company with notes of tart, citrus, and strawberry. And in honor of that name, JP, please play 5 seconds of Strawberry Fields Forever by The Beatles.
Let me take you down, 'cause I'm going to...
Who was way fucking better than Taylor Swift?
Ever heard of him?
Oh, no.
Don't at me.
I would imagine most of our listeners will not at you.
No, I feel
also
like great
Beatles song, great beer, great sour beer. Benny, I know you dig on sour, so I'll take you there next time you're in town. And yeah, it's very good. It's a very cool, artful can.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah, just different strawberries with mouths on them, like talking shit. And there's like some like queen strawberry lady who looks
that's nice,
like she's from like a psychedelic Candyland board.
People. I love them.
Oh.
Yeah, strawberries.
Yeah.
And we planted some strawberry bushes in our garden this year, and they've netted a few very small strawberries. But I've had a couple of them, and they're delicious.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Soon you'll be making your own sour.
Yeah. Just getting a homebrew using your own sour beer. That's the whole,
Rosemary.
Never leave my house. I'm just drinking the strawberry beer I made from the garden while simultaneously spraying my receding resurgent hairline.
No, I like Benny's
The future
idea,
is bright, kids.
It's a 2-in-1. You know, men love 2-in-1. So if you could get them a beer that's strawberry rosemary sour, and you can also put a little spray nozzle on the top, and in between sips, spray on your receding hairline.
Well, imagine if there was just a beer
like,
that did all the things a beer does, but also fixed your receding hairline.
It's
like,
almost like getting two chains
great
for the
idea.
price
I did
of a
not
half
think of that
one.
just now.
Why has that not been invented?
Yeah.
You added a spray bottle. You added steps to it. I want to just drink a beer and then have the receding hairline be fixed. I don't want to spray anything.
Oh, you mean if it would fix it as you drink
it?
It
just
like
by drinking it.
Not a topical, but a
no, that's not a 2-in-1.
A drink.
That's just like
it basically is
probiotic kombucha.
Yeah.
No,
right.
I want
the same thing where
I want a 2-in-1, man. I want shampoo and body wash in one bottle. You don't you don't just like throw the shampoo on your head and go, oh no, it's body wash. No, you have to use it the right way. You got to get a loofah.
Oh man, I haven't used a loofah in so long.
Me neither.
Oh,
yeah. They feel nice though.
I haven't used
feel
2-in-1
nice.
body wash shampoo in a long time either. But
Well,
I found a body wash that I've been using. It's called Method Man, and the only reason I bought it is because of the Method Man.
fair.
Yeah,
Yeah. Is it a 2-in-1?
yeah.
it's IP. Please play 5 seconds of Method Man by the Wu-Tang Clan.
Who be getting down when they come to a jam? Here I am, the method man.
I gotta be a little selective with those 5 seconds though, and I won't ask for another one for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
It's been too
Thank
many.
you. I'm on vacation, man.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm on vacation, but I'm
well-
on vacation again after that.
You're
You've
working
been on
from
vacation
Arnold?
for too long.
Yeah.
oh wow.
The internet's everywhere.
Damn,
Internet's everywhere,
That's true.
baby.
that is true.
Yeah.
Internet's everywhere. Well, guys, cheers.
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 Cheers with these beers to a
Frisk
great
my
great
cameras.
year, and also cheers to our Olympian, our legend, our gold medalist, Legend Carey, Jade Carey. We have to start this episode. Well, I guess we started the episode like 38 minutes ago, but really start the episode after all the shenanigans with Jade Carey, who is officially headed to Paris for her second Olympics Games, going as the reigning gold medalist in the floor routine. She will be part of the, I guess we don't call it the Fab Five anymore because that was, a one-time thing, but of the 5-member Olympic team for women's gymnastics. She finished second behind the iconic Simone Biles on the vault as well at the trials. So
Did you go?
Jade's, I did not, because here's the main
You're too
reason.
busy growing rosemary.
I was too busy growing rosemary. And also, dude, it's cool that Suni Lee is from here, who will also be on the team, but goddamn, tickets were expensive. And I'm had like that's like, all right, so like it was packed to the fucking rafters.
To the gills?
And yes, to the Gill Coliseums. And Suni Lee being from here definitely did not make it easier to get a ticket inside.
Sure.
There's a lot of hype around it. I was downtown quite a bit though, during the weekend, and the energy was fantastic. I did not run into our good friend Amy Sinicola, who I know was in town for it, unfortunately, but they put on a great show here in Minneapolis, and Jade's going. So be sure to tune into all of the gymnastics events at the Olympics, which start later this month. It's crazy.
Would you say gymnastics is like the most, maybe it's the most watched Olympic sport, but like the most anticipated Olympic sport?
It certainly seems like it has like the most intense pressure cooker. Like, because all those sports where it's like, the Olympics is clearly the biggest event for it, where like things like soccer and stuff have other tournaments.
Right.
Basketball, obviously,
Yeah,
but like,
it is their
like
pinnacle.
I would say with most people, and then just I guess like layman terms, it'd be like you think the Olympics, Summer Olympics, you'd probably like think track and field.
Track and
But
field, yeah.
Gymnastics is up, but also like I would say of the biggest celebrities that have grown from Olympic Games of our lifetimes, I would say gymnastics is probably up there. Like people like Simone Biles and Adley Rutschman. And when we were kids, like Carrie Strug she was on literally every talk show for a year straight after winning gold in the Olympics. So it's huge.
I think it would be like swimming, track and field, and gymnastics. Those three are like the quintessential Summer Olympic sport.
Yeah, and also that's where you get most of the people that you don't hear about in the national spotlight throughout most of the year. So their legend is only like within the window. Right. Their public legend is only within the window of the Olympics or Olympic trials. So it builds quick, and then it's like it's fleeting in a sense. But like if they win gold, then it lasts pretty much till at least till the next Olympic round. So
yeah.
You don't see that for like basketball. Like no one remembers really which players were on the USA basketball team the last 30 years.
No.
Except for the year we fucked up.
Yeah,
I remember everything about that.
yeah.
But yeah, like I wish people did get more into basketball. I feel like national team basketball is like very interesting, and with so many of these other countries have gotten so much better.
Yeah.
And they play in interesting ways, and international play is always like more physical, fewer fouls. So like I'm excited to watch both USA and USA men's basketball and USA women's basketball, but USA women's basketball has been like insanely dominant since 96. They have lost like, they're like 0 games in the last like 70 games. But still got to show up, and obviously personal cheering, like, JP and I have Ant and Steph on the men's team. Sorry, Betty, there are no Blazers on it, but you can still be patriotic.
And Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
And Steve Kerr is the head coach.
Yeah.
I might just cheer for Canada because they have some
the Canada jerseys are so sick.
Yeah,
those jerseys are so tight. And
our
our jerseys suck.
Our
jerseys
on my
dare
dad's
you.
side were born
The
in
USA
Canada.
I'm sorry.
How dare you disrespect as we talk about national Olympic hero Jade Carey for America, and here you are declaring your love for Canada. What is wrong with you two? You live way too far north.
Canada men's basketball. And Canada men's and women's basketball. That's it. The USA basketball jerseys suck. The gymnastics swag is fantastic.
There's so much you could do with USA basketball jerseys too.
Right.
Oh God.
Right. Well, anyway,
they had them right a long time ago. That's the nature of everything, is they had it right before. Congrats, Jade.
Yeah.
Yes.
Congrats, Jade.
And honestly, she looked the most. I'm trying to figure out how to put this. I watched as much as I could. I watched quite a bit over the weekend, last weekend, and she looked the most composed.
Yeah.
I think across every single competition she was in, and there was it was almost like, I don't know, she was playing it safe but executed it well, where others were trying to maybe do both, and it kind of either way shot them in the foot. Like
she was just taking care of business.
Right, exactly. That's
I need to do this to get to the Olympics, and she did that.
And she did it, yeah.
It's also interesting too. I think this is the oldest gymnastics team that USA is sending to the Olympics, which is a trend that I hope either stays consistent or just like continues, because I do think we were sending young people who are just way too young for that kind of pressure. And I believe I put this in the notes, but I don't have that article up. But Simone's the oldest at like 26, and I believe Jade is the second oldest or second most experienced. So just that very like composed, mature approach to the events and to the performance, is emblematic of her. I know she was composed and mature as hell when she was a freshman at OSU. And in her first Olympic Games in Tokyo when she won gold.
Have you done even started her freshman year?
Right. So she's been through it. She's ready. And we are just excited as all hell to see what her second Olympics have in store. Man.
It'll be interesting to hear from her. I don't know if someone will ask her the question, but if they did, it'd be interesting to hear how the Tokyo Olympics compare to the Paris Olympics. They would almost have to feel like two totally different events.
Yeah,
right.
One was also delayed by a pandemic.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
No one was there.
Like, there wasn't anyone there. So it'll be interesting to hear how like that sort of plays in with the pressure that they might feel.
Yeah. That is good. I'm curious to see what she would say about that. But also, she's been competing in front of large crowds. Maybe not Olympic-sized crowds, but pretty intense crowds across the Pac-12.
Yeah, I don't think that it's going to mess with her ability to perform, but
yeah,
I bet you it'll just make it a way more enjoyable experience for all the Olympians.
Yeah, agreed.
So
for us to show off our favorite gymnast or our favorite athletes.
And maybe we'll go to Paris on a whim.
Maybe.
We won't announce it, but if you see us,
maybe
this is going to make
Oregon State's got a few connections of some PJs and
either
tickets.
we'll be there or Beaver Dam Scott will Photoshop us into a crowd, but you won't be able to tell the difference.
That's true.
All right. We also need to talk about football.
It's coming up.
Football? It's coming up. We're I believe we are now less than 50 days away, or just around 50 days.
Just about 50
from when Oregon State kicks off against the Idaho State Bengals on August 31st, 2024. But I don't want to talk about 2024, at least not at the start. I want to start the football segment by talking about 2026. Why am I talking about 2026, you might ask?
I think you're going to have a 25, but go on.
I want to talk about 2026. We'll like kind of reverse, engineer this. 2026, rising four-star quarterback from Clovis, California.
Yeah.
Deagan Rose commits to the Oregon State University. He's the first member of the class of 2026. In Dashiell's article, I mentioned his first time at OSU is like the early signing period for his class is literally 17 months from now. So it will be a while before we see him on the field. And also, who knows with the way things work today. But God damn it, he has committed. He is a B for right now. This is a big win for Oregon State recruiting, especially for Ryan Gunderson. Gundy was also the main point man that got us within the top 4 of Hawaii's top quarterback, who did unfortunately commit to Cal. But the fact that we got Deagan, and that kid was a 2025 quarterback anyway, but that we're in these conversations with these quarterbacks who are rising up the charts, it goes without saying we need to see the program retain them. But there have been recruiting wins for Trent Bray's camp for a while, basically since the first week that he took over for he who must not be named. I'm officially referring to that guy as he who must not be named now. Gary Anderson is just Gary Anderson. There's a whole new different level.
Let's take it back.
We can say Gary Anderson's name because he's not even my least favorite Oregon State former Oregon State head coach anymore.
Right.
Which is wild, but I digress. Deagan Rose, dope quarterback from California. He's got a lot more high school football left to play, but congratulations to you. Congratulations to Coach Ryan Gunderson. These are the types of recruiting wins you want to see, and I think for the fan base, they want to see results, and words are nice, and hype is nice. And like I said, until he's on the field in orange and black, you can't really be sure they're coming at this day and age, but every program's dealing with that. And I think it's great to see Ryan Gunderson's name as the recruiter of note in the 247 recruiting database. And I think this has been a great weekend on top of a great week for Oregon State.
Yeah, I completely agree. Also, Deagan Rose, pretty cool name. I have
Perfect
to say.
name.
Sounds like a quarterback.
Yeah, sounds like a quarterback.
Yeah.
I do think that there is sort of a storyline that could potentially be built in here. Or I guess this begs a question, at least to me. It begs a question of, is this potentially a trend of something we'll see? Or I guess maybe more so like an angle that Oregon State could play, and that is if you're a quarterback or any position coming in, and previously, if like an Alabama comes to you and goes, "Hey, listen, like you're not going to play year 1 or year 2, but if you stick around year 3 and year 4, you'll be a starter and you're NFL
you might
bound,
be
right?
a starter.
You might be a starter." So like previously, you would stick around for that. In part because you sort of had to. But now with the transfer portal the way that it is, and NIL the way that it is to a certain extent, I'm wondering if you're going to see more high-caliber high school recruits go to schools that may not have gotten them before. Deagan Rose, Rose is a bit of an interesting issue, I guess, where if he's the class of 2026, like schools are not going to know schools aren't going to be telling him like, hey, you won't start day one. Or they most likely aren't.
Right.
But I think it does beg the question, right? Like, is that a trend that we're going to see where we do see more high caliber recruits from high school go to smaller schools? And if so, is there a lever that Oregon State could pull to sort of give them a leg up on how they're going to build up this program?
Right. And if you're if you're sort of in on it, like Oregon State is, if you're approaching it like, hey, we're going to get this kid with the intention of having him for 2 years before he goes to a place where we just like can't outbid or whatever, or get him ready for like the draft. Like who knows where like that requirement is going to even stay the same.
Yeah.
So I like what you're thinking there, Benny. I think the main thing I'm thinking of there is there's a great podcast. I won't call it rant. And it was pro Oregon State from Stephen Godfrey of the Split Zone duo, who sort of earlier on in this, realignment fiasco of what Oregon State needs to do to stay relevant is take a lot of pages out of the playbook that Boise State laid sort of in the early aughts, where Boise State, identified players that they knew other programs, bigger, quote unquote, bigger programs were targeting and may not have room for. And then they organized their like recruiting plans in ways that they would be the first person like in their classrooms at their practices right after like the big dog like walked out. So like school like Alabama says like, oh, if you come here, you do this, you know, year 2, year 3, whatever. And then you have that great conversation like, oh, fuck, like, yeah, Alabama's interested in me. And then Boise State walks in and it's just like, how about you play right now?
Yeah.
Did you see the cool fucking thing we did with Ian Johnson in the Fiesta Bowl? And then it's like, so I think it's a little bit of a counterculture thing, but also I think Oregon State needs to be aggressive in the timing and, the selection of who they target in this. And I don't know, like Deagan Rose had offers from a lot of big schools who like public record have more NIL funds available than Oregon State does.
But they also have more quarterbacks on their roster.
And more quarterbacks on their roster than Oregon State does. And who like there's quarterbacks who have eligibility on Oregon State's roster now, but like we know how fleeting that is. So I'm think that's it's definitely not bad news.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty good news when you look at it with rational thinking. But JP, you haven't gotten to say anything about it yet.
No, so I'm in agreement. I think that it's just going to be a change, just like all of the other changes that are happening in college football, where we have to kind of reframe how we perceive players, student athletes, and how we kind of label them with ownership in a way of like, they're our player, they're our recruit, this is our guy, right? Like, we have to accept the fact that maybe some of these people will only be athletes at Oregon State for 2 years or 1 year.
Yeah.
But if we recruit at that kind of level,
or
where we find
2
people
days,
who,
which happened earlier in the cycle,
right? But if we recruit the people who want to come in and make an immediate impact versus sit on the bench and then maybe have an impact in 2 or 3 or 4 years down the road at a different program, then you can sustain that. I mean, it's going to be a ton of turnover.
Yeah.
But if you have high performers coming in, even for a fleeting 2 years, then I mean, it's better than having nobody come into the program, even and just assuming like we can't recruit them because they're going to leave. So fans kind of need to accept that potentially this is the case. And like, if we're winning as many, if we're getting into the college football playoff, and then we only have freshmen, sophomores starting quarterbacks every time, who then go on to other programs. Maybe they go further in the college football playoff. Maybe they don't.
Right.
Is that really that bad? I mean, honestly, I think about this a lot. Like, is it really that bad? If
I think even getting close,
to
going to the college football playoff is still a sustainable and enjoyable way of life that we could chart forth.
Well, and I think too, sort of like, if you think about this whole realignment thing and how like just Oregon State has gotten shit on for the last 2 years, it's all been out of the hands of someone like Trent Bray and his staff. It's all been like Scott Barnes centric, right? And this would
in a way.
Well, but I mean, like, I guess to that first point, like, Trent Bray has not been able to do anything about this. I think this is the first chance that they have the ability to look at this and go, okay, like, how are we going to strategize around this from a recruiting perspective? And I think, JP, to your point, like, if you have freshman and sophomore quarterbacks, or really just like freshman and sophomore, any position starting, and that's sort of how you build your culture, is like, we're young, but we're giving these kids that have so much potential the chance to play might stick around. Exactly. And if you can put a staff together that really specializes in getting kids ready from like day one. And I think there are people out there. I think Gundy is a great get. Like, he obviously is making inroads in with some of these high prospects, but it's about development. If you can prove to be a program that can develop young talent quickly, like, that might be your sort of like golden ticket that you're chasing, and sort of the best position that you can put yourself in. So anyways, like, food for thought. I think that there is something there, and I think that we were kind of seeing that with all of these kids that are coming in.
What else are we selling them?
Right.
What are we selling them? We talk about this all the time. We ask each other, what did Bray sell to them to get them here? What's Gundy telling them? How, like, what do they know that we aren't privy to?
Yeah.
And I think a lot of it is, look, in 2 years, you can decide, I'm ready to go to a program that might be on a bigger stage, that might offer me more NIL money. We will get you ready for that.
Yeah.
But also, we will continue to get you ready from that point onward for the NFL.
Yeah.
Right.
So wherever you think is best suited for you, this is the best place for you to start.
Yes.
Right.
And this is the best place for you to be a starter and start your college career. So I think that is the secret sauce.
Yeah.
Right.
Come here 1-2 years. You'll start. You do your thing after that.
Well, because I think the thinking with recruits, and even more so with parents of recruits, is probably a lot more short term now than it used to be.
Oh yeah.
So it's not even necessarily be like punting on having kids stick around for 3-4 years, but it's just putting that emphasis on, like, we need to sell the experience and what they're getting out of their commitment by emphasizing what their first and second year experience is like, and that's playing time. And we're going to play dynamic, exciting football that will get you ready for bigger time programs with more NIL money that, you know, could potentially outbid.
That's the key.
And also the NFL. Like, there's still a good track record of people in this system. They're playing a lot of similar systems of placing pros. So I think, you know, you'll see the guys on the team this year who end up going to the league having success. And then they'll even look at, you know, guys who go elsewhere, and, like, you know, it's like you put that shit on tape and you can go to Bama or you can go to anywhere you want. And
well, one thing I want to point out, and this is piggybacking what you're saying though, Terry, is, and you brought this up, and it's a good point, that NIL right now is a free for all.
Yeah.
And everybody's making about the same. There's some, you know, astronomical figures out there for a select few. But other than that, there's a very clear, like, spectrum of, you know, upper class to lower class.
Reasonable
NIL
levels
recipients.
of money in like 98% of NIL deals.
Yes. But that's going to change as this stuff gets more and more accepted and this becomes more mainstream. The rich are only going to get richer, not just the programs, but the players, the certain types of players, the archetypes of players, the personas of players, the players who come from a brand of some sort already because of their parent or their relative was a player or an athlete or famous, right? Like those are the ones who will get richer as they start to hone in.
Or if they have like 6-figure followers on TikTok by like the time they're sophomores in high school.
But what's going to happen is that what people are expecting right now, if you are a junior, sophomore in high school and you're looking at college and you're thinking about NIL, the odds of you making what the average 4-star recruit is making at any program right now in 3 or 4 years is very unlikely.
Yeah,
because that money is now going to go to the rich players, the ones that they can market. And so the only way to get your money is to prove your worth. And to prove your worth, you got to be popular. To be popular, you got to be good. To be good, you got to be showing that you can play. Yeah. So there is this like long tail drip that occurs, that will occur. And I think that smart parents, smart athletes in high school now are seeing that. And that's a big reason why they're thinking, fine, I'll build my brand here. This is where I cultivate my highlight reel. And this is where I develop my market value.
It's not the same as this at this point, but like, do you remember when like streaming services like just came out? This is like probably like 10, 12, maybe a little bit longer, like years ago.
Yo, when Comcast On Demand hit Corvallis, it was like people were
Comcast
dancing
On
in
Demand,
the streets.
And it was wild. But I remember like studies being like, this is just going to be like, streaming's replacing cable, but it's also just going to become cable, where like prices have gone up, and it's essentially just like you can cut the cord, but like what you're paying for, it's not like it's not the same like cash saver that it used to be.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, we just invented cable again. I do think, because like the way we're talking about this is like, you're finding guys who are being targeted by these big programs, but may not have room for like all of these players. Like every team can only sign like 24 players per class or whatever. Guys are going to fall through the cracks. What can you do to attract them? And it's like, I feel like we're coming dangerously close to just basically copying Mike Riley's recruiting plan in like 2006.
Well, yeah.
And like, that's how he got guys that were good for Oregon State football. So like, yeah, there will be things, and there will be more decommitments, and there'll be more talk of money about it. But like, the challenge to draw people to Oregon State isn't that much different, with the big exception of the rest of the Pac-12 fucking us and putting us in this like landscape.
So when you like want to stability that we're selling to these recruits that we know.
So that sucks.
It'll be okay.
When I like hear like, like especially like where I live, like Minnesota fans like, oh, how do we get guys? And I'm like, it's the same way. Like you got guys on like the time, like the random good teams you've had through the years. You've got to target the right players and provide them with the opportunity that they're looking for, that they can't get at some of these big programs. And eventually, sometimes you will out recruit them, not in terms of the stars they have when they're in high school, but of what they're capable of doing on a college football field.
So
Benny, you look like you have a point.
So here's a more of a question that I have, is you brought up Minnesota. Do you think this realignment situation hurts as a fan, not like financially or anything like that, but as a fan, do you think it hurts a school like Minnesota more than it hurts a school like Oregon State?
Currently, no. It does hurt. This is what I was telling people, because like a lot of it, I think there was widespread sympathy for Oregon State and Washington State when everything happened. I think mainly we'll go to not June 2022, but like August 2023, which was when, okay, we don't have a conference, everyone's leaving. And then within 12 hours, it was like, oh, no one wants us. Like everyone else is going to the Big 12. I have some thoughts on the Big 12 later. It currently doesn't hurt a program like Minnesota. And I'm just using Minnesota as the placeholder, and then just like a program I'm knowledgeable of just by kind of, like living here and knowing what goes on. But I told people, I'm like, if this can happen to us, like you are either next or very close to next. Like we're headed towards the European Super League model that even the fans of the teams that would have benefited of European football widely rejected. So Minnesota will not have a seat at that table. Purdue will not have a seat at that table. Arkansas will not have a seat at that table. Mississippi State won't have a seat at that table. So many, just like West Virginia won't have a seat at that table. Like teams
South Carolina, Indiana.
South Carolina. Yeah. So many teams that's like, oh yeah, like they're part of college football. So right now, no, it doesn't hurt those programs because they are currently in the conferences that have these TV deals and have like some protection in terms of contracts. What made Oregon State and Washington State very vulnerable was just the Pac-12 media deal was expiring, and
Yeah.
I think the Pac-12 was maybe a little overly dependent on market size, whereas the Big Ten, a conference based in the Midwest, and the SEC, a conference based in the South, like market size in both those conferences matters much, much less than it did on the West Coast, where LA, unfortunately, kind of will always hold the keys to power.
Yep.
Whereas that power in a conference like the SEC resides almost equally in places like Tuscaloosa and Baton Rouge and Columbus and Ann Arbor for the Midwest. But the quick answer is Minnesota's fucked too. And so are all of the programs of that ilk.
But for a different reason, right? Because and here's why I asked the question, because if you're Oregon State, your future's uncertain. And I think there's a bunch of different things that can happen. But what I feel like I can say with a lot of confidence is that Oregon State is going to win, on average, more games a season than what they did before. And whether that's in front of as many people or not, who knows? But but if you look at
or how much weight those wins carry,
right? But if you look at schools that are going to what sucked as an Oregon State fan was between 2013 and 2020. That was awful. That was so awful. And just being a fan of a school where you knew, okay, we're going to win 3 games this year. That is the situation that Minnesota and Indiana and Purdue are going to find themselves in, because at least before, in Wisconsin might be the worst, because Wisconsin had a fighting chance to win the Big Ten. Now,
and they did win the Big Ten occasionally.
Right. They would pop off every once in a while. Now, that will never, ever happen. It won't ever happen. Minnesota was going to be fighting for their lives to make it to a bowl game every year. Right. And I think looking at it, those are the schools that are really, really going to suffer.
That's why there will be another spin of the carousel.
I think so too.
We're gearing towards just an SEC Big Ten partnership.
Well, but I think the juggernauts of those two conferences.
Yeah, because Minnesota's not bringing Wisconsin honestly probably would get in that.
I think they would too.
It's still be a top 30.
Right.
Yeah.
If we're talking we're getting inside baseball here, I think Wisconsin has a chance. Honestly, what will be fun to watch for everyone, I think Washington's going to suck next year.
I think so is UCLA.
And so is UCLA. And
USC might not be that good.
And I don't know about USC. The old Oregon is going to be good, and I feel like an asshole every time I say that on this podcast.
Yes, but it's true.
But I have no idea how good USC is going to be, and it's going to be this same annoying thing too, where say Oregon's the only one who's decent of those 4 teams next year, and it's going to be oh yeah, we knew all of the way people talked about the Pac-12 being good last year was bullshit, and it's all of these teams turned over insanely from last year to this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the teams that weren't sort of the teams that Kirk Herbstreit talks about on ESPN College Game Day I don't think are in a better spot. I think maybe fans the question was about fans. So yeah, the fans, I think they can rest easy now, knowing that they don't have the same fate as us right now. But yeah, I think it's marginal bowl games that are kind of the extent of what Minnesota can hope for. Because these last few years, even I've been pretty hard on the Big Ten recently, because there's been some years where the Big Ten has not been great.
Yeah.
It's just been the conference that has Ohio State.
Right.
And Minnesota there was so many years where people were oh, Minnesota can finally go to the Big Ten championship game, because the Big Ten West was dog shit.
Yeah.
You had the worst college football offense of all time at one of your biggest rivals down south in Iowa, and they couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
So now it's let's add more to this. So I feel it's just kind of, I think honestly, when LeBron went to Miami and we really started having the super team conversations in professional sports, is a very similar dialogue to what we're having here. I know it applies to just teams and professional athletes who are making their own decisions and a much smaller pool of actual teams. But I think the logic of a lot of that follows.
Well, and I think too, like if you're Trent Bray and you're going into a kid's living room, you have a pitch, right? You have a pitch. We just talked about it. Oregon State's path to the college playoffs is not there. Like there is something there, right?
It's clearer than it was.
And I would argue that it's probably easier in the position we're in right now than what it was traditionally in the Pac-12. And I wouldn't dine on that hill, but I think that there is a relatively simple path. There is a clear path,
right,
where Oregon State could make it to the playoffs. And then like this might be splitting hairs or getting too much in the weeds, but like that pitch, I feel like you're going to get kids to bite on that pitch, the kids that you want. Whereas if you're Purdue or Indiana or Minnesota and you're just saying, come here, like you'll just get views because you're in the Big Ten. There are two different types of kids that are going to relate to those two different types of pitches. And I hope that you see that on the field.
Especially if the views of you are just holding a clipboard.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Right.
I don't think that like the more that this plays out, I don't think this is bad for Oregon State, or I don't think it's as bad as it is for some other schools.
But my point is I think that we have to, as fans, start to reframe our expectations of what kind of the commitment that we're getting from players.
Oh, 100%.
And be ready for the fact that like we may have 2-year spurts or less with players where they are our shining star. They take us to near or to the promised land, and then they go somewhere else.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But if we are visceral with them or toss hate at them on social media, especially, like people aren't going to want to come to Oregon State and be a 2-year player in hopes to help be an underdog for a little bit and then see where that parlays them with their life success. They won't want to do that. So
all I ask
it is a bit of accepting of both.
Is to be productive in your hate, and sending hate towards a very recently departed athlete of Oregon State University is not a productive way to hate.
And also,
they're already gone.
Any college athlete,
really, any college athlete.
Just go hate the Lakers or
hate productively.
Right.
Hate Phil Knight. Do something productive.
Because
for
none
their
of
life.
us like what's happening. The only thing I'll add to that is, and something that has not been made clear, the G5 has a guaranteed playoff spot, and I don't know that playoff spot in 2024 applies to Oregon State or Washington State.
I'm pretty sure it doesn't.
So that's where you do need to earn an at-large bid, where there's a version of the future where if you are just the best G5 team, you can get that. But even if you're not the best G5 team, you could still be in play for an at-large berth. Also, I don't know how many years it's going to be. It's not staying at 12. It is not staying at 12. And part of this goes into what I wanted to talk about next. So I'll cover this part a little bit briefly. But so our friends, the Mountain West, I'm calling them friends, even though there's been some in-depth reporting of that the talks between the Pac-2 and the Mountain West weren't very smooth, and there may be some hurt feelings on both sides about things. So when you throw out theories or just ideas like, oh, let's just do this with the Mountain West, I don't know how much enthusiasm there is in the Mountain West community to just help Oregon State and Washington State.
Yeah.
And some of that's probably for good reasons or non-reasons, bad reasons, whatever. I do think it's significant, though, that the Mountain West just announced a new TV deal with TNT Sports, which is, of course, owned by Turner.
Which is, of course, losing basketball.
NBA basketball, but gaining college football playoff games.
Yeah.
It's not, if you look into the details of it, it's not barn burner. It's not anything to like go crazy about. It's a number of games throughout the year that will air on linear cable on True TV. True TV is that network that you always have to like re-find what number it is at the beginning of the NCAA tournament every year because it gets first and second round NCAA tournament games, and you're like, wait, I don't have True TV, and then it's like, oh no, I do. It's like, channel like 987Q or something.
Yeah.
But also,
I thought this was USA.
Yeah. It's is it what used to be USA?
Yes.
Yeah, USA. Old head. USA
Buffy
was
the
channel.
Vampire Slayer.
Growing up, it played reruns of Buffy the Vampire Slayer
Raw.
And Star Wars.
And Raw.
Up until Monday Night Raw. So
American Gladiators was on USA.
It's had a lot of good shit over the years. But also, and this is relevant to the conversations we had in regards to the Apple deal that wasn't and what, teams should be doing. They'll be broadcast live on linear cable on True TV and also live streaming on Max. So USA and HBO, why either of those things rebranded from their very good 3-letter names, whatever.
Also, Max just started to charge me like $2 more a month. I got an email today.
Charging me $2 more a month too.
I don't have Max.
So here's where the Mountain West is in terms of television partners: CBS Sports, Fox Sports, and TNT Sports. So you have Fox, which is part of this, realignment nonsense. Maybe they don't care about the Mountain West and like, oh, this brings in a little bit of money. We don't even pay attention to it. And now Turner, and of course CBS, which stands for the Columbia Broadcasting System, better known as CBS. So the Mountain West has irons in a lot of fires. And in terms of most of these deals, especially the most recent one with Turner, has not been disclosed. But the type of deal, I think it could be adjusted fairly easily as you move like further into the future with it. I think they will rate well. And with Turner being in a position where it has college football playoff, that could be a powerful partner. So if it does come to fruition that something like a reverse merger or whatever happens, just know the Mountain West, probably is in a more stable and more convivial TV situation than the Pac-12 had been in the last decade in terms of where their games would be showed.
Not saying a whole lot, though.
That's not saying a whole lot. No, it's not saying a whole lot. I didn't. This wasn't a home run hit. We're hitting singles on some of these at bats, baby. We're drawing some walks. Leaning into inside pitches, getting hit by the pitcher. Yeah. sack bunt, sack flies. I think the Mountain West is like sneakily kind of acquiring assets. And I don't know what that means, but I want to pay attention to it. I think that I really just want to bring this up because we're playing a bunch of Mountain West teams. Not for this season, none of the games that Oregon State is participating in will be on either True TV or Max. And I'm sure that was like because those TV deals had already been negotiated as part of the scheduling alliance. But it could affect the 2025 broadcasting schedule of which we have the year 2 of the scheduling alliance. So props to you, Mountain West. That's really all I wanted to say. But my Big 12 tinfoil hat theory.
Yeah, let's hear this. These are related?
These are related.
Or are you just jumping into another?
No, they're related. It's
another
like
rant.
Talking about other conferences. I didn't want that to feel like a rant. So if I was ranting, I apologize. It's more like I want to notice that the Mountain West added Turner. And for like people who are like, Mountain West, that's a relegation, fuck them, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, they might have some cards to play. They're just accumulating cards.
Well, they might be elevating out of necessity, to fill.
Sure, that could
slots.
be it too. In terms of the Big 12, and this occurred to me, and I don't even think I'm the first person to think of this. I'm not saying this is what's happening. I'm saying this is speculative fiction, meaning it could be reality.
Or this, whatever it is. Fiction.
It could be reality because it infers that Oregon State could be involved in something
is fiction
unethical.
real or not? I always get confused with that. By
fiction
the way,
fiction is not real.
okay, because then they say non-fiction. I always think that's non-real.
Not real.
So confusing. Okay.
This is just Terry thinking about stuff on walks, essentially.
So is it real or not real?
It's not real, but
deal
it could
or no
be.
deal?
I have no proof that it's real. I'm just theorizing. It's a theory.
Okay.
It's possible, but I have no proof, and I'm being outwardly.
Non-fiction.
Scott Barnes,
This
don't
is
sue me
double
because
negative.
I'm not saying you're doing this. But okay, so when the day the music died, right, August 3rd, 2023, and it was like, oh no, Oregon and Washington are going to the Big Ten, and all these schools are going to the Big 12. Calford going to the ACC and some shit.
Oh, that took a few days.
That took a few days, but it eventually came out. I believe it was
That
the
makes it
president.
even dumber.
It was the president of Arizona State who like reached out to the Big 12 and said, "Will you take all of us except Oregon State and Washington State?"
Yeah.
Which got under our skin a lot. And a lot of us were like, why can't we just be in the Big 12? You know, we're the type of program. We're, you know, like it's like the same culture. Pac-12 After Dark, despite what anyone says, was still a profitable broadcast that ESPN had, a profitable time slot, and ESPN, who is in, you know, contract with the Big 12 until 2030, would benefit from that. And there was like, it was just, no, it's just not going to happen. And all we've been like kind of told is like the Big 12 is not interested. I have a theory.
Oh, that was
more of a
theory?
question. I have a question.
Oh,
That wasn't a theory. That was a list of things that happened.
The theory, everyone,
it's
tune in to episode 149 for the theory.
It's a theory and a question, and I'll be done in 2 minutes. I'm looking at the clock. I think the Big 12, I think it's possible that the Big 12 said to Oregon State and Washington State, we don't want you now. We want you 2 years from now.
Well, why?
Why? It's a great question, JP. And this was the same question I asked myself on the walk. Because they knew if they accepted Oregon State and Washington State now, what would happen? The Pac-12 would have to formally dissolve. And everyone would get 1/12 of the remaining assets.
But we have it now.
We have it now. So by saying no to Oregon State and Washington State, you put them in position to win that lawsuit and seize control of the remaining of the Pac-12 assets.
Okay, so
but
what are they waiting
legally, because Oregon State and Washington State have to make a good faith effort at rebuilding the Pac-12 with the remaining assets. You can't just take everything and then the next day. I think
so
that would be a problem.
Under the table handshake
with joining them out west.
It's already.
But so I'm not saying it is. I'm saying it could be. Please don't sue me, anybody. But this could
you heard
be
it here
because
first. Terry's guaranteed.
Because the Big 12, like we could
Cougs,
take Oregon State, Washington
Big
State
12.
with whatever brand value, whatever assets they have, or we could kick this can down the road. Give Oregon State, Washington State the chance to seize control of the conference or win control of the conference in court, which they will because that's a laugher of a lawsuit. And then 2 years from now, after, you know, attempts to rebuild the conference don't work out, we acquire Oregon State and Washington State, but with $250 million and change more than we would have gotten them a couple of years ago. And therefore, that money is part of the Big 12 body, and they can filter it all through Baylor University, a private school that has displayed zero history of functioning with any moral compass whatsoever. This is why I wanted SMU in the Pac-12 for years. I'm on the record of that. I don't know that this is happening, but it would explain, like, because if we end up just in the Big 12 in 2026 or 2027, there will be fans who are like, could have just done that on day one. What the fuck? And I think that is the fuck.
But here's why.
The $250 million.
I think that you might be onto something.
That was just over 2 minutes. I apologize.
But it took way too long. But the pushback is what you said. Why didn't they stop the bleeding by just doing this earlier? Why didn't they tell athletes that were leaving the university thinking there was no future for them because they would have to play in the WCC or independent or whatever? Why didn't they tell them that? And maybe it's because it is maybe they can, but maybe because it's not worth it because it's a 2-year play. Thus, anyone leaving will likely be an upperclassman or already is an upperclassman. Therefore, that's what they're telling recruits.
Right. It becomes a bad faith effort if they're not actively trying to rebuild the Pac-12.
Right.
Because that's what those funds are
people
for.
that aren't coming for 2 years that, hey, we're going to give
the
this
more
a try
people
for 2
you tell
years.
that, but then the LA schools can be like, oh, they're not trying to rebuild the Pac.
That's not true, because if you're actually actively taking the actions, words don't matter. If what you're telling people, like if you're like, we're doing everything we can to keep the money, we're trying to look to rebuild, we're trying to get a media deal, but we're going to recruits' houses and saying, hey, when you come here in 2027, we're going to be in the Big 12.
I also think something that, and you sort of alluded to it, Terry, with Arizona State making that comment. I mean, you have 4 schools from the Pac-12 that are playing in the Big 12. And those 4 schools are going to be really pissed if Oregon State and Washington State are making deals behind their backs.
But unless they were in on it too.
They could be.
Utah.
But what is interesting to me is that Brett Yorkmeyer has made no secret in the fact that he wants to continue to expand.
Right.
But there does seem to be this door that is closed off.
But not Oregon State,
Washington State.
Yeah.
Right.
Because
which is
that's
really
what they would have to say publicly for 2 years to ensure that the Pac-12 war chest is under the possession. And it's about, the war chest itself is $255 million. The $65 million settlement thing is something different. But basically, you have more than enough money to cover the bill that Arizona created for itself, which is $240 million, not $240 billion, sorry. So, but you have to create the public illusion of that. So, Oregon State could have been well aware that Arizona State was going to say, can you take all of us besides Oregon State and Washington State, which says to the public, Oregon State and Washington State's only option is to stay with this sinking ship as long as they can and try to make it float again, which gives them the war chest, which they can hang on to for 2 years.
So you think the ASU is coordinating this? They're actually...
my theory is that it's possible.
Hero.
So that, maybe before their president, I'm blanking on his name now, but was with Barnes and Murphy before that and said, all right, here's the plan. It's going to allow y'all to get the money, and then...
Well, ASU is one of the last schools to jump.
2026 and 2027, which is why because I was taken aback when ASU publicly said, can you take all of us besides Oregon State and Washington State?
Yeah, that's a good
point.
point.
They publicly Arizona, say that was just reported.
It came out and it was... Sure. But...
It was like they had
Ed Ray and Oregon State was criticized. They didn't say, hey, we have an announcement. We fucking hate Oregon State. Eat shit, Beavs.
Big 12, you can have us as long as you don't bring Oregon State and Washington State.
That's the only exception. But because Oregon State was criticized widely for how much Ed Ray stood behind Larry Scott. Arizona State was another of those schools that stood behind Larry Scott. Yeah. So I don't understand. I think there is a chance that it was just desperation. They're like, hey, clearly Oregon State, Washington State have lower brand values, whatever. Take us, please. I'm saying that's not crazy to think that they believed that when they said it. They're assholes, JP. I agree with you. We're on the same team. But so this isn't me saying any of this is actually happening, but it's not crazy in my mind to think that this was orchestrated from the beginning, where the Big 12 is like, we're not going to take you right now, but do this thing that makes you over $250 million richer, and then we'll be in business in 2026 or 2027.
Well, and I would further add to that, the ACC is falling apart. Well, let me preface it. Scott Barnes has come out and said Oregon State is going to operate like a Power 5 school.
Right. And he can do that for 2 years, though.
He can do that for 2 years. But we're not going to the Big Ten. We're not going to the SEC. The ACC's falling apart. So maybe you're right. Maybe he did just say, we're going to operate like a Power 5 school for the next 2 years. No. But I think if he were to really think that we were going to be in a situation where we're playing in a group of 5 sort of situation, that we might try to pinch the pockets a little bit and soften that blow.
Well, I also think that
we're preparing for all scenarios. Let's be real. That's why we're closing up positions at the athletic department within the coaching staff.
That is true.
Which is why a lot of players are transferring, because they know that there's budget cuts coming for what they're given or what they have at their disposal for resources. So it is happening. The university is definitely planning for multiple scenarios.
Right.
And you do have to start preparing for one where, you're operating at a G5 budget.
What I just said about joining the Big 12 would apply to, like, if you can't just join the Mountain West at this point either, because then you would again have to forfeit the war chest. Yeah. Because that is the Pac-12's war chest. So you can't just be like, well, let's bite the bullet. The writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
You would anything with the Mountain West would have to be a merger or a reverse merger.
It would have to be a reverse
merger. The Pac-12 branding is prominent. Anyway, it would technically be illegal for them to do what I just mentioned in cahoots with the Big 12. There are a lot of things similar to how the Sonics left for Oklahoma City.
Terry is going to prison.
I'm not doing anything illegal. I'm just saying this could fucking. I thought of it, and I was like, honestly, I hope they're doing that. What did I say a number of episodes together? I want to make deals with devils. There's not a devil in the world of college athletics that I wouldn't make a deal with right now. And if it comes out that we had no intention of ever reviving the Pac-12 and we would just want to stick it to the other 10 schools, get what was left, and then join the Big 12 at the earliest date, whether that be 2, 3, 4 years in the future, then I'm all for it, because fuck everyone else.
Yeah.
And that may just require a little bit of patience. I don't know if that's what they're doing, but hey, Belligerent Beavs, Ocean's 11. Let's rob every school in the SEC and Big 10.
I really like this idea.
I do too.
Like, if you think about it, though, that's maybe why the play that Oregon State, Washington State made to get to where they are now was the smartest play. I think a lot of people are like, well, it buys them time. They have 2 years to decide what they want to do. And that's like a partial truth, though, of why this is valuable, if anything. And I'm not trying to be like this, like, superb optimist, but like, if anything, the world is their oyster at this point, because they can stall, they can negotiate, they can wait things out, they can watch and see what other things are transpiring across college athletics, and they can make moves independently without having to, cross-reference with 10 other presidents. So really, when it comes to this changing landscape of college athletics, it sucks to be the first guinea pigs, but I think it also will prove in time that by being the first, we had the best setup to navigate the waters.
Agreed.
If I end up dead in a ditch tomorrow, we will be in the Big 12 by 2026. That's how we will end.
What about my backyard?
Find Brett Yorkmeyer.
If you're in my backyard?
Benny, it's your Mac.
Yorkmeyer.
Yeah. It's Yorkmeyer
Yorkmeyer
in the NCAA football 25 world you created for yourself. But we can't talk about it because we don't have time, because we need to talk about baseball before we get out of here, because Adley, Rutschman, and Stephen Kwan have been named as American League All-Star starters. That is amazing. Two Beavs. Starting in the All-Star game.
22% of
two Beavs, one team.
Two Beavs, one team. Explicit material.
And a dream.
Yeah, Terry's grimace just now. He knows exactly what that was a reference to.
Don't go there.
Don't.
We didn't say the name of it, but don't go there if it's in your mind. Well, we've talked about Adley and we've talked about Kwani recently as a episode ago and a couple episodes ago. And fuck, this is just an awesome. I haven't been stoked to watch the MLB All-Star game in a long time. I'll be honest. It's a point in television. And Elliot Ramos made it.
Yeah.
Oregon State has more players in the All-Star game than any team in the Pacific Northwest, including the professional ones.
Who's the Mariner who's going? I haven't even looked.
Logan Gilbert.
Yeah, everyone has
one rep.
They're the first team in history that has.
The Mariners have one All-Star and Oregon State has two.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice.
So awesome.
Nice. Well, congrats to Steven. Congrats to Adley.
And Kwani, hey, I watched him a lot this weekend or this week. This weekend? When was it? When they played him in the Giants or
it's hard
Guardians of the Giants.
Hop. 4th of July is on a Thursday. It's like the weekend is 9 straight days.
Yeah,
so
it was very confusing.
Anything you did in memory was this weekend.
Yeah, okay, good. So watching him, though, I mean, like, he had a rough series, and I'm glad that he still got the nod before, I think it was before most of the games of the series, but then he did have this, like, booming home run after going, like, 3 or 4 or something, and then he just
make up for
one.
it.
So, yeah. But the broadcast, even the local, the local Giants broadcast love talking about him because he's a Bay Area kid, but they would not stop talking about him for at least like 2 batters before he was up. Oh, Stephen Kwan's coming up. And then like at least 2 or 3 after his at-bats, even if he got out, the whole like he's, flirting with 400 and yada, yada, yada. And it's just good to see Kwani get that kind of shine because Adley got it. And, Adley gets it because he's a catcher. And
number one pick.
The number one
pick. Yeah. Everyone always looks at those kind of like, personas of, number one overall pick, the team leader is the catcher. They like to just blow it up. And the media loves to tell those
chilling, playing pinball in his mom's garage and going and 4 for 5 every day.
Silently making pitchers want to tear their eyeballs out when they see him up at the plate. So, big shout to Kwani. But bigger shouts, I think, are due from potentially the MLB Draft in 6 days.
Ooh, it could be a big weekend for Oregon
Could
State.
include a young man named Travis Bazzana, which also is Australian.
To be the nicest pick.
6th player in program history to earn unanimous All-American selections. Every single voting body in college baseball made him an All-American. 6th player in team history to do that. He joins outfielder Michael Conforto, right-hander Jake Thompson, catcher Adley Rutschman, the aforementioned Adley Rutschman, left-hander Cooper Jerpy, and outfielder Jacob Melton. And I can't help but notice when reading that list.
Outfielder and former first NIL contract with Belligerent Beavs.
One of the first NIL contract with the only Coscottom seed, Jacob Melton. But I also can't help when reading that list that this makes 3 unanimous All-Americans under Mitch Canham. So that feels significant.
That is significant.
That feels important.
Who else should we be watching for in the draft? Because we talked about Travis all the time, but are there any other Beavers that are expected?
Okay, Micah could go high.
Okay,
maybe not first round. No mocks I've read had anyone in the first round.
No.
Okay. Unfortunately.
Holmes probably he end up on a team. I think there's more arms that could end up.
Yeah. Is Aiden Mays? Aiden Mays.
Aiden might get drafted.
Yeah.
Again, one of the arms.
Right.
But nobody is a solid
and
one.
Potentially I know our guy Tanner Smith transferred to Miami, but I also know that he had heard some things that made him feel like he was in the mix for this draft. So maybe a team that needs a catcher.
Catchers are,
takes a look at Tanner earlier and offers him a deal that makes the minors look like
an invaluable resource,
better destination than Miami Hurricanes. So we'll see.
Yeah, maybe teams that are looking for more grand slams will pick up Gavin Turley. You never know.
He's not going yet.
He's out one more
year. Go yet. Yeah.
Well,
next year, Benny. Next year, Benny.
You're just excited.
Yeah.
But yeah, good luck, Travis. We won't record again before the MLB draft, so we'll have a deep draft recap. And if you end up in Cleveland, I will be so happy for you. I'll be so happy.
You can watch them all the time.
I know. I get to watch them in person like 9 games a year. Moving quickly to the hardwood, JP, we are all sorry for you that arguably your favorite Warrior ever, Klay Thompson, is not a Warrior anymore, but a different Thompson is.
Yeah.
For Summer League, at least. Ethan Thompson.
My favorite Thompson.
Oregon State Elite 8 fame. Is a Warrior and went off in his first game in the California Classic and yesterday.
22 points
he's
yesterday.
Summer League off with a bang. I'm going to be at Summer League for 2 nights
first
next week. I'm going to Vegas in July. It'll be after we record our next episode. If I don't get assassinated tomorrow for fanning these Big 12 flames, I will just burn to a crisp by someone whose alias is Bob Yorkmeyer. He's just gonna burn me to a crisp in Las Vegas. I think I might be able to see the Warriors. It's a very quick trip. I got to get to Phoenix for the WNBA All-Star game after that. So if I don't burn to a crisp in Vegas, I will burn to a crisp in Phoenix. But Ethan, balling for the Warriors.
But you know, it's not even just the balling. Like, I mean, he's definitely playing really well, playing lights out. He's obviously not playing for the Puerto Rican national team in the Olympics. He's pursuing getting at least a two-way contract, if not a full guaranteed roster spot in the NBA. Most of the time, these summer leagues don't work out where your team that you're playing for gives you the contract, to give you the opportunity. I would love to see Ethan on the Warriors. I think he's a great fit. And also, even more so, that tells me I saw this in a very similar way. Of course, like both Ethan and GP2 have this like non-traditional path towards the NBA, or at least pursuing a non-traditional path towards the NBA. Of they didn't get there as a rookie, or they kind of dabble with it and they bounce back and forth, and they almost hung them up, and they ended up in the G League, D League, whatever. And when I saw Gary Payton play for the Warriors in the summer league, the thing that stood out to me the most was how much his teammates fed him to let him shine so he could get the contract. And over these last two games, it has been very obvious how much the team is feeding Ethan and trying to get him plenty of looks. So something to just keep an eye on is like when you watch the behavior of the rest of the guys, and they're not just like vying for themselves, trying to make a statement, and they're trying to get somebody, some looks. Maybe there's some directive, maybe it's just goodwill, maybe it's just they think that the dude's a great guy. Whatever, they're doing it. They're feeding him. They're making the extra pass. They're letting him take these looks from three. They're letting him cut to the hoop. So,
hell yeah,
it wouldn't be surprised if we end up getting at least a two-way with the Warriors.
Right.
Nice.
And there's no room for hate with summer league. So even if you're a Blazer fan who listens to us and hates the Warriors, set your watch to checking out the Warriors for summer league, because it's summer league. We want to see guys ball.
And it's literally just a jersey that we counts for nothing.
Yeah.
So
who knows? Maybe he'll end up on the Blazers. I hear they have some roster spots.
They have spots available.
Yeah.
And then also
GP.
Let him go to you guys and have him ball out.
You had Eubanks too. Let him go.
Yeah.
You've just been the Portland, the Oregon State Trailblazers.
That's a great team name. Why has no one ever thought of the
Portland Trail Beavers? Also,
Tail Beavers.
I'm still mad at them for beating us in the Western Conference Finals. But if you are feeling whimsical for the Elite Eight run, also set your watch for the Dallas Mavericks Summer League team, because they have Warith Elatiche on their roster.
No shit.
And also Jared Lucas, who did transfer to Nevada, but Jared Lucas was a big part of that group, and he is on the Dallas Mavericks Summer League roster as well. So that can be fun if you want to go down memory lane and watch some Summer League. So Dallas Mavericks roster, Warriors roster. And then also JB Bickerstaff, who played his college ball for Oregon State and Minnesota, named the new head coach of the Detroit Pistons.
Wow.
Weird little Minnesota Oregon State alliance.
R.I.P. JB Bickerstaff.
Yeah.
We should ask
who is in the worst spot of college football realignment? The answer is the Detroit Pistons. So good luck, JB. You're gonna need it, but hope you got a bag with that contract. Because bags are important, and the Beavs are important. This podcast is important. Hope is important. Beers are important. Friendship is important. We cover all those things here on the Belligerent Beavs Podcast, and we did cover all those things on the 148th episode of the Belligerent Beavs Podcast. Oh my God, we didn't get lost at all. No tangents. No unproductive tangents in this episode. Another perfect episode, you guys. We did it.
Wow.
I still have some of my strawberry field sour. That's
it's officially forever. You can't drink the rest of it.
The beer is not finished.
Forever.
The beer not being finished is a sign of a good focused episode. I
know. Look at this. I think I still got some in here, but this is a big old bottle.
Hell
No,
yeah.
I finished mine.
Actually, I don't think there's anything in there.
Hope everyone had a great, safe,
try.
and very fun 4th of July. Keep enjoying your summer. Tune into NBA Summer League.
Nothing in
Tune into the MLB Draft. Keep watching the WNBA. Keep watching everything. Keep listening to the Belligerent Beavs Podcast. Please give us a 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. And please take a moment right now to share the show with a friend. We appreciate that and you so much. My name's Terry Horseman, at Terry Horseman on X, formerly known as Twitter, and at Terrence Horseman on Instagram.com. I am joined, as I always am, on this show that we call the Belligerent Beavs Podcast by my two best friends from college, Benjamin Lawrence, Sebastian Wehage in Tacoma, Washington, fresh off of the Bainbridge Rotary auction. Right? Did I get there? I almost said function.
Bainbridge Rotary auction.
Bainbridge Rotary
It's
auction.
where he got his button up.
Yeah. He got his button up and his...
And my
it's
hat,
like shopping at
my
food
underwear.
It's where I get my food and most of my stuff.
My underwear flags.
Benny with the good quaff. Benny bowl game. Benny scoops. Benny Bedlam, because he's fucking crazy, folks. Benny Blast Off, and he can be followed on all social media channels at Benny L 1986. The most chaotic of the three of us, a recent infographic.
Oh, yeah.
But also
I
the
did
most
like
good.
that.
You're the most good and the most chaotic, which I think makes you the favorite. Betty's everyone's favorite. Let's be real.
I agree.
I don't.
What was I? I missed this.
You were the most good.
Wait,
I think
Benny
you
was the most good.
You were the most good while also being lawful, and I'm just kind of here. I think you
Just
and I were
kinda
both good
here.
and lawful. You're good. You're maybe a little more good and a little more lawful, which is wrong. I should be more lawful. Although I am
All
also
right,
the
well,
one.
we just
I'm also the one getting assassinated
invalidated
tomorrow.
everything. We invalidated everything about this ranking system.
Anyway,
No one trusts it. No one trusts it.
JP Bertram. No, trust it, because we're all in, I think, positive air. Though I think the whole thing's positive. If you're a Beav
That's
account on Twitter, we fuck with you. And we're glad you're here.
Yeah.
JP Bertram. Hanging out with our friend Arnold, California in Arnold, California.
Yeah.
Hey, Arnold.
And watching Hey Arnold in Arnold, California. From a California king. It's the life of comfort. I'm out of funds. The Trill J on Twitter. That's at the _Trill_J. Because he's too trill to be real. He's on all the ones and twos, doing all of our 5 seconds, doing it all for the Belligerent Beavs Empire. And also just at JP Bertram. JB Bertram.
JB
Bertram.
Bickerstaff.
JB Bickerstaff on Instagram.pistons.com. Going 16 and 66 next year.
Can't wait.
Which would probably hit the over on Vegas. So I'll check when I'm there next week. And follow the show for gosh darn sakes. That's at Belligerent Beavs on Twitter, at Belligerent Beavs everywhere else. That's Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, especially YouTube. We're really trying to pimp out the YouTube, so please follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube.
Maybe we'll do an episode live.
And we'll do an episode live and like the episodes and subscribe.
Please.
Like and subscribe. Rate and review.
Thumbs
And
up.
just be cool. Peace, love. Peace, love, babies.
Peace, love, and thumbs.
I think we're still. I think we have a defunct Friendster account. I think you can download our playlist on Napster or LimeWire or BearShare. We're just kind of
I
everywhere.
think there's a playlist on Spotify.
There's and there's a way to find everything.
Swipe right on Tinder.
Swipe right on Tinder.
Subscribe to our OnlyFans.
For sure. Just hit activate on Grindr, and then it kind of takes care of itself. And just go to
You can find Terry's
belligerentbeavs.com.
profile with Terry the bracelet guy.
Terry the bracelet guy at grindr.gov and belligerentbeavs.com/merch for all of your merch needs. But more important than all of that is to remember, no matter what they do, no matter what they say, no matter what they take away, you can't spell chopem without hope. So chopem.
Shop 'em.
Chop 'em.
And with the first pick in the MLB draft is Bazzana, Australian for Noise.
Noise. And don't leave your gold chains on hotel outlets.